Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. MPs today confirmed the appointments of Tomislav Tolušić as Deputy Prime Minister and Darko Horvat as Economy Minister with 77 votes. Horvat and Tolušić, who is also Agriculture Minister, are replacing Martina Dalić, who held both positions until she was forced to resign last week amid allegations of conflict of interest with regard to Agrokor. Opposition MPs from the SDP, HSS and Most boycotted the vote.
In each public address, I always finish with "Let God protect us and give us good health. Everything else is on us." Given the complete support we have availed each other, I think our cooperation will be good. What I think is much more important, with the obvious exception of the Agrokor case, is to, in the midterm and long term, closely monitor the national reform program, which we have to organize and implement to ensure that this government functions at an even higher level, is to meet all of the conditions Brussels wants us to fulfill, and which can contribute to a better standard of living for our citizens.
Agrokor's crisis management team has published on the company's website a draft of the proposed settlement deal with creditors. The 120-page document does not reveal all of the details of the settlement deal, which should be known by early June. Meanwhile, a new batch of emails from the so-called Hotmail affair, which led to Martina Dalić's resignation, were published by the Index website today. The latest emails imply that some of Agrokor's suppliers managed to secure preferential treatment from former crisis manager Ante Ramljak.
It's an absolute falsehood that some suppliers were given preferential treatment.
Today's speculation regarding preferential treatment on the part of the crisis management team for some suppliers by allegedly transferring old debt into borderline debt are construed and untrue. The commercial court in Zagreb has been informed that the process of drafting a report on the payments to all suppliers is underway, and this will be published as soon as the data is verified.
The new emails were also discussed in Parliament, with the opposition calling for new elections.
In any normal country, this would be cause for the dismissal of the government, for the Prime Minister's resignation. But you, Mr. Plenković, and the HDZ are behaving as though everything is completely normal and as though nothing is happening. The emails have nothing to do with what the crisis manager is doing and with what the creditors' council is doing. First and foremost, I am not a detective, and I don't want to deal with such things. We have plenty of other work to do.
After receiving a report against Prime Minister Andrej Plenković filed by SDP MPs Peđa Grbin and Siniša Hajdaš-Dončić, the chair of the Conflict of Interest Commission said today that it will take some time for the Commission to examine all of the relevant documentation. The report alleges that Prime Minister had supported the work of the so-called Borg Group in reaping illicit profits from Agrokor's restructuring.
The fact is that a report has been filed and that we have opened a case file. It is also a fact that every day, including today, new emails from the so-called Hotmail case are being released to the public. When we gather all of the relevant materials, we will call a session of the Commission at which the case involving Prime Minister Andrej Plenković will be addressed.
The EU's data protection law came into force today. The General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, gives people more control over their personal data and forces companies to make sure that the way they collect, process and store data is safe. Each EU member state will have its own enforcement mechanism, with one GDPR supervisor per country. The maximum fine for a GDPR violation is €20 million, or 4% of a company's annual global revenue from the previous year, whichever is higher.
As far as citizens are concerned, as they are the focus of this effort, the goal is to make citizens the subjects and not the objects in the processing of their personal information, so they can feel like they are informed, safe, and confident they can manage their data.
And taking a quick look at sports, everything is ready for the final of the Champions League in Kiev tomorrow night. Croatia will have 3 players in the final: Luka Modrić and Mateo Kovacic for Real Madrid and Dejan Lovren for Liverpool. Opening kickoff is at 8:45 local time. Watch live coverage of the game on Croatian television's second channel. And now the forecast for tomorrow. Predominantly sunny, but it will continue to be unstable, especially in the interior where there is a chance of localized showers and thunderstorms. There will be some morning fog in low-lying areas. Winds will be mild in the morning with a strong northeasterly at the foot of the Velebit mountain. In the afternoon, winds will shift to a moderate northwesterly. Morning lows of 11 to 16 degrees Celsius inland, 17 to 21 on the coast, will give way to highs of 24 to 29 degrees, slightly cooler in mountainous regions. The 3-day forecast for the interior calls for predominantly sunny skies and even warmer temperatures. However, it will remain relatively unstable with afternoon showers and thunderstorms. The coast will see even more sun than the interior and slightly warmer temperatures. It will be relatively windy. And that wraps up the news. Be sure to join us again tomorrow night.